dear Castro Abdallah, dear friends of leadership, dear sisters and brothers and comrades, dear representative of ITUC, ATUC, international guests, representative of the General Security, representative of the government, representatives of the media and the civil society. I'm honored here to be today in Beirut for my first time, to be speaking at the opening session of this founding Congress of the Domestic Workers' Unions of Lebanon, conveying the greetings and wishes of the ACTRAB director, of all the colleagues from the Bureaus for Workers' Activity, and the ILO as a whole, starting with Ms. Nada Al-Nashif, the regional director, who sends her greetings and apologizes for not being able to be here. Yes, herself for previous engagement. And all the colleagues were already mentioned by Brother Castro, so I don't need to repeat all the names. Thank you very much. This is very appreciated. I'm also pleased to be here because of, allow me to say, a personal commitment to this cause. I was the secretary of the workers group when the issue of domestic workers was now the Convention 189. Before Convention 189 was adopted, but was put on the agenda of the International Labour Conference. I asked the interpreters to tell me if I go too fast, because I am Italian and eventually I tend to speak too fast. But this is important, that I want to make sure that I speak slowly, because the added value of this is to have many languages, many people from different parts. And that was a time when the majority of the people, I would say, were saying that the ILO could not adopt this convention. The domestic work was difficult to regulate. All objections that even less, but we still hear now, but fortunately less and less. And yet, and this is the beauty of the ILO, because it's the universality of this organization. When all the people, the participants of the World Parliament of Labour, as I would describe the conference, came together and paying respect to those who did such a hard work, starting with Alima Yacob, who led the workers group, wisdom prevailed, and the ILO was able to respond to the demand of the sisters and brothers, mostly sisters, such as Myrtle Whiteboy, who is right here and who will speak afterwards as president of the International Federation. But at the time, she's the first one who traveled from South Africa, asking for justice for domestic workers to Geneva. And many, many colleagues have been working on this journey, asking for decent work and social justice for domestic workers. From the founding Congress in Montevideo of the International Federation of Domestic Workers to the 15 ratifications that we have now, but they are still going. You know, it's like there are many countries that are already working on this. To the birth of the many organizations with innovative schemes. And your thinking of coming together is not only important for domestic workers, it's important for all the precarious workers, all the others that feel like, I'm alone, I cannot organize. Yes, we can. If we do it together, we can. The messages are in the end only two, and quite simple. All workers have the right to decent work, and in order to achieve social justice and not fear, we need solidarity. Let me go back to decent work, to the concept. What does it mean? It means working conditions where all workers, again, enjoy jobs based on four principles. freely chosen employment, social protection, social dialogue, and fundamental rights. Freely chosen employment means that workers need to be able to control their lives. Their passports, their documents cannot be retained. They need to have an employment contract clearly stating the terms and conditions of work. Social protection means that all workers need to be able to access labor protection. Hours of work defined, resting time, because you know very well, especially for you, that you can have the hours of work, but then you don't have the resting time, so you are supposed to work 24 hours. Wages and compensation, safety and health, what does it mean? In the house, which are the basic requirements, which is the access, if I have an accident, how do I go, how am I treated, which are the basic things. As well as social security. And for this, the provisions need to be drafted in a national way, in a national planning, and then extending slowly. You know, we are not talking something that we do right away, but we do it together and across the country. Social dialogue means that all the parties in questions, government, trade unions, and employers' organizations, need to start discussing together how to help creating an architecture of a new system which is useful and necessary, not only for the workers, but for the society at large. And I say this especially, and I'm happy that governmental representatives are here, because this is an issue that goes beyond. If security and democracy builds stronger society. Finally, and most importantly, fundamental workers' rights, as they are the building blocks of all. Domestic workers, as any other workers, cannot be working under forced labor, child labor, or discrimination. And we know again that not only this country, everywhere, these are the problems. And they must have the right to form freely chosen trade unions and have the effective right to bargain collectively. Since we know, as I was saying instead, that these rights, which all countries have committed to apply, irrespectively of ratification of the convention, but also irrespectively of race, of gender, of nationality, because all these countries adopted in 1998 the Declaration of Fundamental Principles and Rights at Work. We know that these are the most abused all over the world. Let me say, what a hope you are giving today to all of us with this gathering. This is a major message. Indeed, we know that the building of a stronger and more democratic world of work and society at large has always started by workers themselves. When they have overcome the fear and isolation, and they have built their own organizations, discussing common problems and offering solutions. So, looking at the mosaic of people today, of the many countries that you represent, of coming together and being able to feel the strength, we all feel the strength that you are giving and the hope that you are giving us, sisters and brothers. The second building block that I mentioned earlier is solidarity. This is why this Congress is so important. Because first in this region, if I am correct, a national center and a sectoral general union have opened the doors to create an organization where all domestic workers, nationals and non-nationals, women and men, no discrimination, can find a common platform to offer dialogue and solution to governments and employers. This is very important because first, we need to support the brave person that are making history today. We are in together on this, sisters and brothers. The job, of course, is only started. Efforts will be needed and to be doubled in terms of supporting communication, especially when many languages are involved, and as you did today with a wonderful possibility of interpretations, it's like it will be difficult, it will be costly. Let's find solutions that are not expensive, but that allow this communication, because the solution can only come from you. It's like we can only support, but the solution needs to come from you. And above all, to create the policy plan that we want to discuss with government and employers. We want the employers to start thinking themselves how to create, for example, organizations of families. There are the honest employers that should not fear the fact that there are many that unfortunately are not offering decent work, but those who want to negotiate, they should be allowed to do so. The ILO commits to stay engaged with you and with the other actors in order to offer proposals in terms of social dialogue, working hours, wage and benefits, basic social security, health and safety guidance and protection, remittance that shouldn't cost the workers. We should find a way of, because often you are working in order to support your family, and there are too many who are cutting into this money instead of the money going from workers to the family back home. It is possible to do it, and the country as a whole, as I say, would benefit from the realization of these rights at work. Allow me to share another personal memory. As I did at the founding Congress of the International Federation of Domestic Workers. Towards the end of her working life, my mother became a domestic worker once she lost her previous job as a seamstress. She immediately asked her employer to pay Social Security dues, something not so heard even in Italy in the 1970s. She got them. She won the Social Security dues, together with the recognition of her rights and dignity at work. She was a strong woman, and today we are proud as ILO representatives to be here with so many strong women and men who are able to care for the children, for the elderly, for the families they attend with love and respect, but who also deserve that respect back. As ACTRAV will be committed above all on the freedom of association and workers' right for all. And I'm pleased to see the link in the banner of between Convention 189 and Convention 87. As Brother Castro also said, they come together. They are clearly linked. But also as a ILO as a whole, together with the many colleagues who have been working and who will be working with you, starting with the colleagues in the regional office, but also we at headquarters, we want to do our share. We commit to consider this not only the beginning of the journey, but we need to stay with you in the future journey that will bring certainly social justice to workers, to domestic workers, but to workers as a whole. Tahia, Naqabat, Amelat, Al, Nazar, long live the domestic workers movement, long live trade union solidarity.